This week on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard, Conrad and Bruce, we're talking about WrestleMania 12, one of my all-time favorite WrestleManias. It was, I think, one of the first, I believe it was the first that I actually watched live on pay-per-view. I had watched other pay-per-views before that, but I had not actually had a WrestleMania on pay-per-view prior to that. So one of my favorites. And in this episode, while they're talking about WrestleMania 12, they talk about the return of the Ultimate Warrior, another one of my childhood favorites, my childhood hero. As a matter of fact, he was my absolute favorite wrestler. I think a lot of people's favorite wrestler. Check out this clip where they talk about the Ultimate Warrior's return at WrestleMania 12.
How does Hunter Hearst Helmsley become the guy who draws the number? In theory, it feels like you probably want a heel with heat who people, definitely hate and want to see, catch a beat down here. So maybe the old, hey, who could give him a good match isn't necessarily applicable because it's going to be fast and we want it to be someone who has some heat. Well, how does that become Hunter as far as you recall?
Well, it was Hunter because of the guy that we did feel could give him the best match. And someone that had natural heat, and someone that we were moving on to something else with Mark Marrow. So the Hunter pick was an easy one. We thought that if anybody could lead Warrior through a match and give him a big win, that was it. It was never meant to be the short match that it became.
Okay. Can you tell us how it became a short match?
Yeah, Warrior changed it that day.
What's that? How did that go down? Can you elaborate?
Warrior, I think Jerry Briscoe was the agent, and Warrior was like, no, this is the match we're going to do. And went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And at that point, it's get the match in the ring. And Hunter was a pro and was like, you know what? Let's just go do what we got to do and move on. And we'll deal with all the other shit afterwards.
Anything else you want to say about this Warrior thing? I got to tell you, as a non-wrestling fan at the time, I didn't get back in for a few more weeks, or I guess it was a few more months. Even I was paying attention because the Warrior was back. To your casual fan, your lapsed fan, that's about as big of a name as you could have brought back, right?
I think so, especially at that time, yes. And I think there was a big part of the audience that maybe thought they would never see him back. So it was a big deal for him to come back, and Warrior had his fans. Warrior had a fan base, but I hated it. Hated it.
Can you verbalize what you didn't like about it? What you hated it?
I thought it just squashed Hunter and didn't do anything. If that's all we were going to do, we could have just said, hey, Warrior returns at WrestleMania and send Mario Mancini out there to do that.
Absolutely unprofessional. If you're just going to day of just show up and be like, you know what, this is the match that we're going to do. And who the fuck is the Warrior to just say, no, this is what we're going to do. And just argue with everybody all the way up to the point where you don't have time left to argue about it, that you just have to give in because it's the only way you're going to get the match in the goddamn ring and get the show moving on is to just agree to whatever the Warrior's saying. Warrior did that before when he was holding Vince up for money, supposedly. So here we have the Warrior coming back and trying to make it all about him, and I don't give a fuck about this kid Triple H here. Fuck him. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to squash the shit out of him. I'm not going to give him anything at all. I'm going to take his pedigree, I'm going to get up, I'm going to fucking laugh in his face, kiss him on the cheek. He made a bitch out of Triple H. He jobbed Triple H the fuck out. Now, clearly, it all worked out for Triple H in the end, didn't it? Definitely it didn't hurt his career, but it was a shitty situation to hear about it like that. And I think, honestly, Triple H was able to withstand it, not just because he's good enough to build himself back up from it, but because he was hated enough at that time where you could watch. He was that kind of heel where you hated him, and he could probably get away with slipping on a banana peel as a heel because he wasn't a main event heel yet. He was trying to get there, and this wasn't going to help him, but he wasn't there yet, so this didn't necessarily bury him. He was actually reasonably at a point. I think if you were going to job out any guy that's actually a main roster star, not just a fucking jobber, if you were going to job out a main roster star at WrestleMania, Triple H is a great guy to do it at that time. He was a heel, he was hated, and he could take that loss and come back, and people aren't going to think any less of him because nobody really thought anything of him at the time anyway. Triple H was years and years away from getting any kind of credibility. He didn't start to earn that till he was in DX, and that's when he slowly started to kind of get that credibility. I don't think anybody thought he sucked or had any kind of hate for him when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but certainly the Warrior thing didn't hurt him, in my opinion. But clearly, right? Might have set him back a couple of years, but Jesus Christ, he runs the place now. But what a douchebag Warrior is. And, when you look back at that match, it was actually a spectacular debut. Had it been booked that way, I think it was the right choice, to be honest with you. You put Warrior over in a squash, but not against a jobber. It was somebody that's established, and he just kind of runs through them. And you do that if you're really going to go with the Warrior, but clearly Warrior wasn't going to be sticking around for too long or be the next champion or anything either, and he was going to be difficult as fuck to work with, as he was right off the bat here. But Triple H, the consummate professional, a true fucking pro in the business, taking one for the team. Warrior, a complete and total douchebag, but also my childhood hero. And I liked the match. I liked it when I saw it. I like his little fireworks thingies, his long trench coat, and just fucking squashing Triple H. Just a brutal squash. I liked it because it was shocking. When I watched that, I didn't expect Triple H to get squashed that quick. I didn't expect the match to go that quick. And I was young enough to the point where I wasn't disappointed or felt ripped off by it, because it's not like I believed wrestling was real, but I was just along for the ride. I wasn't any kind of educated to be like, well, they didn't really put on a good show for us. It was like, okay, Warrior's coming in strong. He just beat the shit out of Triple H. Awesome. Because Triple H sucks and the Warrior's awesome. And that's all there was to it. And I think that's all it needed to be. So, but it's great hearing it's the first time I had ever heard that. I hadn't actually heard that he was the one that was refusing to let Triple H get any kind of offense, that he just wanted to squash. So interesting shit, worth checking out. Something to wrestle with. Always good to listen to. Every single Friday. Bruce is there most of the time too. So that's a plus. Hey, thanks for checking out that clip. Don't forget to check out other clips here on the channel. And while you're there, throw a like, throw a subscribe. And don't forget to check out full episodes each and every Sunday of the Pro Wrestling Podcast.